Alright, thank you for joining me today for this video. I'm going to show you a tutorial of how to create a real-time data line chart that'll timestamp uh, the volume or whatever you're tracking in intervals of 30 seconds, which is what I have it set for. And you can change that interval time at your own discretion. So first thing you want to do is open up a fresh sheet of Excel. So I have Excel open brand new. Um, we're going to go down to the bottom. Because we're going to copy and paste a specific code, we need to rename this sheet into what I had it set for on my code. So in order for this to work, we're going to have to rename this sheet as SPX options data. Put it together, no spaces, doesn't matter if it's capital or lowercase, as long as you have SPX options data. When I initially created it, I was trading SPX, which is what I normally do. So doesn't mean that you have to create this for SPX. You can create it for SPY, AMD, NVIDIA, Apple, whatever you like. But just make sure that you name it on this sheet SPX options data. It's very important in order for the code to work. Otherwise, you'll see errors pop up when you try to enable it. Next, in cell A1, B1, C1, and D1, you're going to have to type in exactly as I put it here. So in A1, you're going to type in timestamp. B1, you're going to type in calls. C1, and type in puts, and D1, ratio. Make sure these are spelled just the way I have it, because again, it's a part of the code, the script, and it needs to be exactly the way I have it. Okay. In A2, just put in the current time. Doesn't matter, just put whatever is the current time where you're at. So I'm going to put, 3:24 space PM, where I'm at in the West Coast at the moment. So we are after hours. I was going to use SPX for this example when I transfer the data from Thinkorswim, but because it's after hours, SPX has no movement. So we're going to use futures for this example. So I'm going to use futures ES futures, because this is currently showing a lot of volume, or at least the volume is moving right now. So let me go ahead and grab that. Let's see where we are. ES. Okay, great. So I have this here. Yeah, okay. So on the top right under on demand, you're going to click on the three lines, and you'll see this window pop up, and you're going to go down to export and then select to Microsoft Excel. If you don't see to Microsoft Excel, it's probably because you're using a Mac. I'm doing this on Windows, and I know that on Mac you will not see this option, so just FYI. So after I select to Microsoft Excel, I'm going to see this blue pop-up appear, meaning that the data has been copied. And next I'm going to go back to my Excel and paste this data that I just copied into, for example, let's use cell I1. So I'm going to highlight I1 and paste it, and you'll see that data that I just copied. Pull up here. I selected every strike, so if you remember, I have strikes all selected here. It doesn't mean you have to do that. You can select 2 strikes, 50 strikes, or all the strikes, up to you. I'm just using all for this example. And I'm just using 1 day's options activity. So typically when I'm using this setup, I'll be using SPX 0 DTE data, right? So now what I want to do is highlight the column that has the volume. So in this case, I have column O has the volume, so I'm going to just highlight that. So that way when I scroll down, I know that this is volume. So now that I got it highlighted, I'm going to go down to the bottom, and I want to calculate all the volume within those cells. So we'll use cell 350 because it's the one right underneath our very last strike, and we're going to put equal sign, sum, left parentheses, click on the very bottom of the last strike, and then drag it all the way up to the top of the very first strike, which is in cell 06. So after I got that highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and, or selected, I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And now you'll see 179 pop up, which is the total of all the call volume that we selected. Now we're going to go and do the put side, so we'll go to cell AE 350 and put equal sign, sum, left parentheses, select the very last, or the very bottom strike, which is the 8100, and drag it all the way up to the very first at the top, which is going to be the 100 strike. After I got them selected, I'm going to press enter, and now we have the total. So here's our put total and our call total. It's going to have a pretty wild put call ratio there. As you see the discrepancy, one's in the hundreds and the other one's close to 5,000. So I'm going to go all the way back up, and where we created calls, puts, and ratio on the very first row, right underneath calls in cell B2, we're going to put equal sign, and we're going to get the data from cell O350, which was calculating our total for the volume and calls right there. And then we're going to put equal sign AE350, which is calculating the total for our volume and puts, and then press enter. We're going to leave ratio alone, so leave that blank. Next thing you want to do is make sure, so now we're going to copy and paste the code. So I'll provide the code in the description of the video. You're just going to copy and paste it. Now, where are you going to copy and paste that is what I'm going to show you next. So on your Excel, on the ribbons, you should see developer here. If you don't see developer, it's okay. It's probably because it's not enabled on your Excel. So in order to enable developer here in the ribbons, you want to go to File in the top left, click on File, and all the way down at the bottom, you're going to click on Options. Once you're in Options, you want to go to Customize Ribbon towards the middle of this pop-up. Once you click on Customize Ribbon, on the far right of the pop-up, you're going to see a bunch of these boxes that have been checked off, and you just want to make sure that developer, which is right here on mine, which has already been checked off, that's why you see it on my screen. But if yours is not checked green, you want to make sure that it is, and then click OK. And then you should be able to see developer pop up here. Once you see developer, you want to go to Visual Basic, which is the VBA, where you would type in the script. So click on Visual Basic, and once you're here, you want to go to Insert on the top and select Module. You should see a module pop up. You'll see it right here. Okay, cool. Now that you have this here, you're going to get that script. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up myself on my screen, so you'll be able to see it. And I will bring it here. So here's a script. Sorry for the dog barking, but you're going to basically highlight from dim, next runtime, right here. This is going to be the beginning of the script, so you're going to highlight it there and drag it all the way down to the bottom. Once you got that, you're going to just right click and copy, close that, and paste it right here in this module pop-up box. Once it's pasted, you're going to next want to go and make sure you have select module selected here on the left. It's highlighted in blue, and go to the green play button right here, and you can access that by pressing F5 as you see on my screen, or also you can just click on run and then click run macro or F5. Once you have that here, you're going to see these 5 options pop up. Calculate put call ratio, so you're just going to highlight that and click run. Go back to the green play button, highlight create volume chart, click run. Back to the green play button, select start tracking and click run. And then back to the green play button, and then the final one is at the bottom, track SPX volume. I'm just going to click run. You're going to ignore the stop tracking. Don't run that. Just leave that blank, or leave it as it is. After you click run on 4 of those 5 options, you're going to just close this out. And when you return back to your Excel, you'll see that it's automatically created you a line chart here. So once I click on the chart and it's highlighted, you'll see that on the left, it's showing this highlighted area in blue and purple. What you want to do is grab the bottom right corner of this blue highlighted area and drag it down. That way the chart will now start to visualize all the numbers within the highlighted range. You actually want to skip the very first one that we created and start where the timestamp started to appear on their own, not during the timestamp that you created, but the ones that started to auto-populate once we put the code in run. So now that you have it highlighted, you can just bring this down because again, this is going to keep populating every 30 seconds and it's going to run past where your highlighted area is. So you can bring that down however far you want. It's up to you. Obviously, throughout the day, if you're going to trade all day, this thing's going to keep running unless you stop it or you close XL. And then you can just kind of bring out your chart, so to whatever size you want, and you'll see that the put-call ratio is automatically calculating on its own, and the calls and puts that are being time-stamped every 30 seconds will be appearing on your chart. And you can color coordinate this however you like. So if you wanted to just click on the series on the far right side of the chart, right-click it and change it to, since it's calls, change it to green. And if it's puts, we're going to just go ahead and change it to red. That way it's like visually, red for not good and green for good, or whatever, in terms of the trading business goes. And yeah, and that's how you're going to set this up. And you can do this with any ticker, ETF, whatever, as long as it has options data available. You can make this happen. Just again, take the data from Thinkorswim. Normally I use SPX like I'm mentioning, but because this is after hours, I wanted to use features just so it can show the volume as it's changing. So you're going to just copy it like I did, paste it into whatever cell you want, and then just get the overall volume total, and then put that cell where you have the overall volume total into B2 and C2. You have two sets of data, so I use it for calls and puts. And then that's where what you put into B2 and C2 is where the chart's going to be, everything below it, right? So if you wanted to use it just for Apple, Nvidia, QQQ, SPX, whatever, this is the same process. Nothing too crazy about it. And yeah, hopefully this video brought you some value and makes your trading experience easier moving forward. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm still working on these, trying to make them more visually aesthetic. Try to make them better as time goes on. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. All right, thank you and take care.